easily the biggest wedding in Scientology history, but it marked the beginning of the end for actress Leah Remini. Scientology had been her spiritual home for more than 30 years, until she says she found out firsthand the high cost of crossing one of Scientology's most prominent members. Here again is Dan Harris.
The Tom Cruise-Katie Holmes wedding was an opulent, celebrity-drenched affair in Italy. Upon arrival, Leah Remini was captured by the paparazzi with her close friends Jennifer Lopez and her then-husband Mark Anthony.
I was hoping to get a picture like this, you know, where I looked gorgeous and stunning, but instead I look like that.
Leah says at the wedding, where Scientology's chairman of the board, David Miscavige, served as best man, church officials took their Cruise adulation to a whole new level. She also says she was annoyed by what she saw as ham-handed efforts to separate her from her friend Jennifer Lopez by having them travel in separate vehicles and sit at different tables.
They were trying to extract me.
Why?
I could only assume because they wanted to make Jennifer a Scientologist. Maybe I was barring that road for them.
The church tells ABC News in regards to the wedding, every claim Ms. Remini has made is not only untrue, but ridiculous and stupid. For her part, Leah says what she saw was enough for her to take a radical step. She says she filed a wide-ranging knowledge report to the church, complaining about various Scientologists at the wedding.
You left the wedding on a mission to save Scientology.
Right. I thought, I now see where the cracks are in our church, and it's David Miscavige, it's Tom Cruise. They were bringing Scientology down.
But to her dismay, she says she arrived home and learned that numerous Scientologists had filed reports on her.
That I had disrupted the wedding, that I basically destroyed the wedding.
Leah showed us this document, which she claims to be a knowledge report from Katie Holmes herself.
It starts with, I was dismayed at the behavior of Leah Remini during the events leading up to our wedding and our wedding. The behavior as a guest, a friend, was very upsetting.
Leah says she had crossed two pillars of Scientology, Tom Cruise and the chairman of the board, David Miscavige, and now she was being taken to task.
Basically, they were just trying to get me to recant what I said, to apologize for ruining the wedding of the century.
Why didn't you just leave?
I wasn't ready to leave the church.
In fact, she says she was so loyal that before the wedding, she'd even cut ties with her old friend Sherry Ollins, now an ex-Scientologist, because Leah thought that Sherry's brother had become antagonistic toward the church.
Did she formally disconnect from you?
She never said anything to me, but I never heard from her.
But Leah was, in some ways, living a double life. Outwardly a committed Scientologist, but inwardly nursing doubts, not just about the organization, but also about its cosmic theology. One example, back in 2003, when she says she reached a key level of Scientology's bridge to total freedom, Operating Thetan 3, a point at which she says key church secrets about the history of the universe are revealed. In this document, written by church founder L. Ron Hubbard, he tells a story about an intergalactic warlord named Xenu.
Who's Xenu?
There was some galactic confederation, there was a war, and there was a volcano, and they bodied, they took the spirits of people and they encased them into something, into a volcano, blew them up, and then those spirits are now inside of you, on you, in you. Like you are made up of these things.
When you read that, did you think this is true?
When I read that, I said, this is some crazy.
But that wasn't enough to convince you that maybe something was...
So what am I doing? I'm leaving? I'm walking away from my mother?
The church would not talk about its advanced scriptures, but told ABC News that it is not unusual for a religion to have confidential scriptures and practices. In 2012, another major inflection point in Leah's relationship with Scientology. Katie Holmes, who Leah says had written one of those knowledge reports against her, publicly left Tom Cruise. Leah says she felt vindicated.
Yeah, I said, where's my apology?
You're right.
Well, here's one. Just this week, Katie Holmes wrote to ABC News. She neither confirmed nor denied writing that knowledge report, but said, I regret having upset Leah in the past and wish her only the best in the future.
Do I get an apology from Tom, from David Miscavige?
As her frustration mounted, she says she decided to commit a serious infraction within Scientology. She went online to see what critics of the church were saying. She says she saw the reports of families who say they were torn apart by the church's practice of disconnection, the shunning of ex-members by friends and relatives still in the church.
I want this horrible practice of disconnection to end.
She says she also saw allegations by former top officials who say they were punched or slapped by David Miscavige.
I was heartbroken for myself, for my family. I didn't want these things to be true.
Scientology has adamantly denied that it splits up families, saying disconnection is voluntary. The church has also repeatedly denied that Miscavige physically struck anyone. Leah says for her, the situation came to a head when the church sent 2 high-ranking officials to her home, a visit that turned into an argument and, according to her husband, almost much more.
One of them called her a name. What did he call her?
He called her a bitch.
Leah says she was finally ready to leave. The church says she was actually expelled for ethical lapses and claims she tried to stay. Leah denies all of that. Either way, there was still an enormous, emotionally fraught question lingering. Would her family stand by her?
I'm ready to walk away from everybody that I've ever known and cut ties with my own husband, my own mother, because you don't know what they're going to decide.
In the end, with the Remenys, that is not how it went down.
How much did it mean to you that your family stood by you?
It means everything.
Leah also reconnected with her old friend, Sherry Ollins.
So she emailed me a very sweet email, and we agreed to meet for coffee, and we met, and it was like no time had passed.
Things were much less cordial with the church, however. Leah decided to make her exit very public, even taking her beef to the ballroom on Dancing with the Stars.
The church is looking for me to fail so that they can say to their parishioners, you see what happens when you leave the church, like they're waiting for me to fail.
Okay, so you're up there.
Just this week, with Leah guest hosting Dancing with the Stars, the church is ramping up its criticism, even hand-delivering packets of information to the lobby of ABC News filled with damning statements like this.
Here, let me read you an exact
Please.
quote. Given Leah Remini's insatiable desire for attention, it comes as no surprise that for 2 years she has been incapable of moving on with her life and remains obsessed with shamelessly exploiting her former religion in a pathetic attempt to get publicity.
Yes, I agree with them. I wish I too could get over 30 years of this quickly.
2 years out of the church, Leah says her life is now better than ever.
Okay, thank you guys.
That the ordeal has reinforced the bonds within her family.
I don't regret spending my life there because it really did teach me a lot. And because we've all survived it, we're all surviving it and living life, and it's kind of like we have a gift of second chance of life.
For Nightline, this is Dan Harris in Los Angeles.
Our thanks to Dan and his team.